Good morning. It is Sunday, the Lord's Day. Here we are. We're in the last Sunday of August, the last day of August almost. This month has really flown by. I hope everybody's had a great week. But the thing I want to talk to you about this morning is we all have dealt with betrayal, disappointment, and we expect those types of things from our enemies. But what about when it comes from somebody close to you? Whether it be a close friend, whether it be family, whether it be coworkers. Yes, it can be painful. But what we're going to have to do is we can look in God's Word and we can find the answer to that. And I'm going to go to Psalm 55 this morning, and then we're going to end up in 1 Peter 5, around the 6th and 7th verse, and we're going to see how we have to handle these types of things. We read in Psalms 55 that David has had someone that was close to him that he called a friend. He had that person has betrayed him. Seemed to catch him off guard, which it will catch you off guard because you would never think somebody that calls themselves your friend, you'd never think that person would betray you. Well, we also read in God's Word that a man's enemies shall be those of his own household. And that household may be your household at work, your household at church, or it could be your actual physical residence where you live. Let's jump into it. We read in verse 1 that David is saying, "Give ear to my prayer, O God, and hide not thyself from my supplication." He didn't look for the solution within himself. He went to the source of all things. He took it directly to God through prayer, which is what we have to do. When we try to fix it on our own, with our own wisdom or wisdom of the world, and when I say wisdom of the world, I mean, look around you. There are many philosophies, there are many theories, but man only has limited resources and he doesn't know everything. And he can't be present everywhere. That being said, that is why we have to go to God through prayer. But if we put our hands on it, we're going to mess it up. But trust me, when you give it to God in prayer, He can fix it. And when He fixes it, He fixes it for good. Let's go a little further. Now in verse 5, it tells us, "Fearfulness and trembling are come upon me, and horror hath overwhelmed me." Now let's think about that. When something happens to us, especially it's unexpected, how will we sit and worry about it? Just think. Worrying is like sitting in a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but you're not getting anywhere. You're still in the same spot. You've got to give that up. And we cast all our cares upon the Lord, for He cares for us. That's what it's going to tell you in 1 Peter 5:7. But how do we get there? How do we get there? We get there, like it says in 1 Peter 5:6. Humble yourself under the mighty hand of God, and He will exalt you in due time. But now what is this due time? Due time is not the time that we think something should be done, but rather when He says it's going to be done. We may step in and decide, okay, well, God's not moving quick enough. Let me tell you this. His time is not our time, and our time is not His time. You see, He's not governed by ours, the time that we go by. He's eternal. He's been there since the beginning of the world. So what we need to remember is when these things happen, take it to God in prayer. And when you take it to Him, get your mind off of what you're worrying about, so God can put His hands on it. Let me say it again. Get your hands off of what's worrying you, the problems that you have, and cast them on the Lord. And He didn't just say some of your problems or some of your issues. He said all. And when you do that, you're taking your mind and your hands off the situation so that He can put His hands on it. And when God puts His hands on it, it's a wrap. He can work it out. And that's why you got to throw it all away. And when I say throw it all away, throw all your cares upon Him, because He's waiting for them. And when you do that and you trust Him to work it out, He'll give you a peace that this world can't give you. And since this world didn't give you that peace, you will have a joy that the world can't take away. Y'all have a good week. I'll talk to you later.